Hey everyone, this is High Priestess Tana, and thank you for tuning into Tana Temple Healing Works. I'm back with another review, and I want to talk about the movie Him. I touched base on the movie Him a little briefly during one of my videos. Actually, the video while I was discussing about Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul and how people do whatever pretty much for money, and some people don't have any type of boundaries, or I guess you would say any type of like boundaries or any type of restrictions when it comes to what they're willing to do and how far they're willing to go to get to a certain level of success or to attain a certain lifestyle or fulfill their dreams or desires, right? So I'm gonna delve a little bit more into depth in regard to that. So, y'all, that movie was wild. When I tell you, I was looking at that shit like, what is going on here? And you know what? I had to really watch it multiple times because you know what? The crazy part is that I understood what they were aiming for, but it wasn't executed properly like it should have. Maybe if the movie was a tad bit longer and if things were fully fleshed out when it came to certain scenes and certain concepts, I think we would have had a better movie. At times, I didn't even know whether or not to take it as a comedy or as a horror movie because I was confused. I was like, is this supposed to be like a horror comedy? Are they supposed to is this satire, or are they trying to make not light out of what people are willing to do to sacrifice to get to the top or whatever, but it was really crazy. I feel like a lot of things just weren't fully fleshed out when it came to various concepts or various subjects in a movie. And I noticed that they broke things down in chapters, right? So, Cam and Isaiah White were like basically the two main characters. And Cam was a young man who was a rising football star, and he was so like in awe, and he was excited to um finally get a chance to have that, position. um but have that position as a rising star, but it came with a price, right? As usual. And he got the opportunity to go to a combine and work with his football hero, or his role model or idol. Yeah, his idol Isaiah White, right? Played by Marlon Wayans. So Isaiah White was a character. I mean, they could have just did the movie just based on him. No pun intended. Just really solely on him, and have Cam as more like a supporting actor with the young man who played Cam. I think it was name was it Tariq. I forgot his last name, but I think overall that we there it's almost like the movie was making mockery of that type of, I would say, how would I say, like that type of lifestyle or choices that people may make when they want to join certain organizations or deal with the quote unquote elite, um, upper echelon, however you want to put it, right? Type of crowd. So basically, as I was looking at the movie, I said this is just one big ass initiation ritual mixed in with, talking about Freemasonry allegedly and being a part of other organizations allegedly. And it was just, that's just basically what it was. And I picked up a lot of like destiny swapping because Cam basically was turning into the new Isaiah White, if you will. And what's crazy is that it seemed like Isaiah White was jealous of Cam because he knew that he had the skills to replace him and to basically take on the spotlight, because he was already there. He was already a rising star and a young star at that. So he was a fresh face, like a baby face, in that specific sport of football, by the way, obviously. So the crazy part was is that some things that stood out to me was Cam got hit in the head with this it was this like sharp object or something like that by this goat looking figure, and he ended up having like a head injury. Now, he after receiving his head injury, he still chose to go to the combine and train with Isaiah White and his crew of people. And y'all, that's when all the crazy shit, actually, the crazy shit began a little bit before then, obviously, because some goat like figure hit him in the head, and he had all these, he had staples in his head, not stitches, but staples. And the crazy part was that Baphomet imagery, and a lot. And what's crazy is that the name of the football team, I believe, was called the was it something about the Saints or something like that. And excuse me, it was crazy because I said Saints like y'all far from being some saints. This team was demonic. They did every ritual it took. I mean, the drinking of the blood and all these goat head, Baphomet looking rituals, some eyes wide shut looking type of shit mixed with um the skulls, all type. It was given a lot of different, things. It was a lot of things going on. And it to me it fell flat in a lot of areas because as I was just looking at it, I was like, okay, I see where they're going with this, but like, did it have to be that like cheesy? You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, you would see some weird looking figures run out of nowhere, and they had like these weird color, like nude color clothes on, colored clothes on and stuff, and they just were weird and just, I don't know, like they were possessed or something. Maybe they were people that were part of rituals from what I saw. Some of them were. And it was very cult like. It was giving Satanism, all that. And then with the pentagram at the end and stuff. And I think that was Cam's agent. Tom was killed by this evil force on the ground, this evil wicked demon thing or something. Cheerleaders were out there cheering Cam on. He had all his blood all over him because he basically bashed Isaiah White's brains out with the helmet and stuff. And they also had like these scenes where it was like x-ray type of vision or something where they were bumping their head, like, like basically like it was giving like references to CTE. And that's what I really wanted to touch base on. I'm getting there now. Was this really for real, or was this just in Cam's mind? Because he had a head injury. And let's go back. Speaking of head injuries, at the very beginning of the movie, Isaiah White, who is the basically the role model or the idol of Cam, basically had a what you would call or what you would think of as a career ending injury. And excuse me, but apparently it didn't end him right, like it didn't end his career right away or at all from my understanding. um but the crazy part was that if you look at the poster too, you will notice that Isaiah White's fingers are broken. He had like gashes in his head. He looked like it looked like blood was running out of his eye, and basically he was injured himself and possibly also allegedly suffered from CTE from his injuries. And he also had broken limbs, like I said, broken fingers and stuff like that. But he had rings on his fingers. And what I was getting was that this man was willing to sacrifice his life for the sport, and he also wanted Cam to be have that same mindset, to be in that same state of mind by pretty much worshiping football and what goes along with it, and that's signing. And from what they were showing, in order to blow up into this athlete that's affluent and beloved all over the world, and all this other stuff, and who's practically worshipped by fans, by their fans or stands or whatever, you had to sign the satanic, allegedly, the alleged satanic contract, right? So basically, this is what Cam was doing when he went to the combine. And y'all, this one scene where the guy kept getting hit by the footballs that was coming out of this machine. It was like this, I think they call it a pitching machine, where the footballs just keep shooting out the machine and you have to like catch them or something. But dude was getting hit, getting battered in his face, yo. And it was crazy. And I was like, what the fuck is, like, I mean, his face was all just all broken up, y'all. Bloody, banged up. It looked like he had broken, like a broken nose, busted lip, eyes was all bruised up, and head like damn near bashed in. Looking, it was crazy. It was grotesque. It was grotesque. And to top it off, um, Cam was out there basically ramming into these guys and brutally, damn near killing. I think a few of the guys did get killed when Cam and Isaiah White was out there, just, basically going fucking insane, attacking these guys by so-called tackling them, but they were attacking them instead of tackling. It was insane. And then you would have like certain scenes where it was this chick that came in. I forgot her name because the movie was so weird. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of lost interest. She came in a sauna with Isaiah, right? And this crazy bitch, she was like, she just ran up to him and he had to choke her ass out, but he didn't kill her. But Isaiah came in and finished the job and just basically laughed his ass off at this woman's demise and just kept it moving pretty much. And it was insane. I was like, no sympathy for humanity at all, because honestly, there were some scenes too where Cam was receiving some of Isaiah's blood. And from my understanding, that was supposed to be like some form of like I say it's destiny swapping, a form of destiny swapping, by him taking on some of his blood so that he could have enhanced abilities when it came to playing football, or to take on some of his traits so that he could become the new Isaiah White, quote unquote. That's what I took from that. It was an energy booster as well. You know how some people take IVs for hydration and stuff like that. That basically what it reminded me of, but it was blood instead. And it was still destiny swapping and energy harvesting too. So y'all, that baby, that movie was insane. It was so many like rituals and like with the, even you, if you think about it, if a person, you're partying with people like this, I noticed that while Cam was partying with Isaiah White and his crew of demons, or legion of demons, because that's what they remind me of. And one of the scenes, Isaiah White and his team had a nerve to pray, talk about, I think they were talking about in God's names. I'm like, how dare you? That is so blasphemous. After they had killed this man on the field, I'm like, what the fuck? It was insane. If I recall correctly, that's what I remember. But when you're partying with these people, you don't know what the hell they're giving you. It could be some type of aphrodisiac that can have you hallucinating. It could be drugs that could have you under like hypnosis or like give you like a hallucinogenic type of how would I say energy or make you or like a phase or something or whatever. So that makes you feel like you're like, okay, is this fact or fiction? Is this reality or is this surreal or what is going on? And I got to the point I started to think that some of this stuff wasn't even real because Cam had experienced a brain injury. And I was thinking, was this like the signs of CTE? Like, was this all in his head or what, y'all? Because it was just crazy to me. And it was so many Baphomet references with the goat like figure and that kept popping up every time um, Cam will be around uh, the combine, like on the field or to himself in one of the rooms and stuff, just watching him. And it, it was just so strange. So, another thing I noticed too was at the beginning of the movie, Cam's father, who had passed away, by the way, had said real men are willing to sacrifice for anything that they wanted, right? So the crazy part was, he was he said that after Isaiah White had injured himself while they were watching a live game on TV. And I said, and I'm thinking, did that stick with Cam as well? That he was willing to sacrifice himself and be down for whatever to sign on that dotted line of that so-called satanic, so-called satanic, what you call that, contract, so that he could make it. And B, because he loved Isaiah White so much, he idolized him, that he was willing to do whatever it took to get to the top because he revered him so much. And another thing that stood out to me was at the end, that's what it was. Like he after he Cam killed people in the move throughout the movie. He took on Isaiah's blood. He partook in the rituals and the what you call the practices and all that stuff. And he basically did whatever it took to sign on the dotted line so that he could be the next hero or the next goat. Let me elaborate on that. Because that's what it was about him being the new goat, right? And which means greatest of all time, but also the goat was in there. So he basically had sold his soul for that fame and to become the next superstar. And he went to the extreme. He got down and dirty in that length of time. And it's just crazy, y'all. I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, what the hell is this? Some of the stuff was just silly. It was just silly. Like, why did y'all need to put this in? Like, he would have these flashes and like hallucinations of different like demons and entities or people or demons that look like people, but they really weren't. They were evil. And I just said this team was like fallen angels, and Isaiah White was like Lucifer or the devil. Yeah, that's what I took from it. And I think Cam just, I think he knew what he was getting himself into. And at times he was afraid to go another extra length to prove how devoted he was to the sport. But he really didn't have any boundaries or limitations of what he was willing or not willing to do. Y'all, that was a mess. Yeah, that shit took me out. I was like, what is what is this? Like at times I was like, should I take this scene seriously? Or is this just like laziness when it came to the writing or the production or the directing, or I don't know, or producing rather and directing. I think it was just all. You know what? I think they had to sugarcoat a little bit, because if they didn't make it look kind of comical in a sense, or kind of like what the fuck, kind of campy, cheesy, then they probably wouldn't have been able to release the movie at all. I think that really that really played a part in why some things weren't fully fleshed out. Because I was looking around, I was just looking at the scenes, and I'm like trying to figure out, like, okay, there were a lot of hidden clues and factors and stuff in the movie, a lot of occult symbolism with the pentagram, with the goat slash Baphomet, with the uh basically talk about the saints, something saints, which was making mockery of, to me, of God and Jesus, because these people were far from saints. They were evil as hell. And also, it was talking about traumatic brain injuries with CTE and all these hidden, so-called hidden organizations and all these different things, but they had to do it in a way that was safe, quote unquote. Because if they didn't do it that way, I just believe that the movie wouldn't even had the opportunity to be released at all. It just felt like it could have been on like Tubi or something, like, or Hulu, versus in the movie theaters. So I waited and watched it when it got on Peacock, because I have the premium account for Peacock, and I just watched it on there. But it was taking a jab at a lot of different things. What people are willing to do for money, fame, fortune, popularity, and reverence, I guess you would say, and how far people are willing to go, what they will partake in without any limitations, boundaries, or any type of regrets or remorse, or however you want to put it. Because it was a lot of sacrificing going on, quote unquote, in that movie. And it was crazy because honestly, it seemed like it was harder, um trying to keep up a facade, if you will, like you're happy but really you're not. Because see, people look at, oh, these people got millions of dollars, they can do whatever they want, go wherever they want, but they're really not happy. Because look at the shit it took for them to get where they are. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. And that's why they say you got to stay protected at all times. um because that right there, that spiritual warfare ain't no joke, and temptation is real. And it's not just with sex, money, it could be even with influence, like that you have around you, like people, outside forces or external forces trying to take a toll on you as well, by trying to come into your life. Certain people who can try to influence you, like Isaiah White was influencing Cam to do the wrong shit to get to the top. He wasn't trying to say, like, work hard, keep pushing yourself. He wasn't trying to motivate him in a positive way. He was trying to motivate him to become a menace. And I'm just keep it at that. There was nothing positive about that dynamic with the mentor mentee aspect, because Isaiah was supposed to be Cam's elder. He failed him. You know what I'm saying? It was horrible. But yeah, like, if y'all have any other thoughts about this movie, let me know, because it was just a lot going on. I think it was oversaturated with trying to be um it's like they were trying to be quote unquote woke, I guess, if that's the right term, when it came to exposing quote unquote all this stuff. But this so-called these hidden things that happen behind closed doors that the average person doesn't have access to, like, to see, hear, or experience. But let me know what y'all think, and thanks for tuning in. Once again, my name is High Priestess Tana, and thank you for watching Tana Temple Healing Works. And y'all have a wonderful New Year's Eve / New Year's Day. If you don't see me tomorrow, all right, y'all take care, and I hope y'all have a beautiful beginning of the year, and the whole year I hope is blessed as well. So thank you so much for supporting my channel. All right. Peace. Peace. I messed up.